Look down on the game of Armageddon as written in progress since 1833, using the Torah as weaponry from people who want to play war but not get blood in their hands, as this is called computer game design these days, and we know what we're doing. 487 years of always faithful Marines are our flock, as I rose to be a good shepherd using 2,000-year-old reconnaissance. When wolves in sheep's clothing try to pull the wool over the eyes of my Marines, by emailing and faxing tools as Aquarius, last prophet for Judaism. I get the fuck George Bush away. It's never going to dismount, so the devil dogs will know that this dog's been knotted. I have FBI and U.S. Secret Service green light to raise Marines. Rodney Dangerfield told me I get one chance to be Neil. He said, wait for your audience, polish your skills, and bring work ready to roll. When terror meters came out and nobody realized that these were using mass hypnosis on an uneducated public from the White House, I went to the Department of Justice and volunteered to build them a case. President of the United States is just a role, but Aquarius is powerful. I need to put this role to bed with tenacity, tact, and timing, because you and I have one thing in common. We are 8 years old. My dad died of Alzheimer's, but everybody in the Alzheimer's unit mentally reboots back to 8. Not 0, 8. If you're going to reboot, why do you stop and reboot to 8? Well, I started researching what people had accidentally done with hypnosis, and Born Again looks to be a reboot sequence for the body. If the mind will reboot back to 8, and you can reboot the body back to 8, build your treasures in heaven, combined with on earth as it is in heaven, combined with the chance for rich men to get into heaven, revealed a sophisticated trap to get a problem to get the hell out of heaven. This is heaven. He wasn't talking about some fairy land that doesn't exist. He was talking about a problem here. And sent tools because we humans can see through time and don't need holy books. Boo. But to teach how everything works, somebody needed a really good working game. The Torah is just a game, and I contacted Mr. Minty, Mr. Patel, and Mr. Mustafa at Al Jazeera Media. I needed 3 wise men from Al Jazeera Media when they started the Android division, when Muhammad's birthday fell on Groundhog Day. And Groundhog Day, the movie, turned out to be a really good remote view of this corridor as Einstein's special theory of relativity turned up in movies because there's a shared imagination. And everybody can see what everybody's doing, but you need a good set of tools. And so I'm dumping the best tools I've got to the open source public domain so that we can reboot radio for alternative reality gaming, because we were doing Hypnosis Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s, and my guests swore they were battling real monsters. And when you scream out, I can't believe this is happening, as long as reality is safe, turns off the graphics of the mind. We're trying to get stuff to the gangs. So I sent this stuff to the LA gang tours, because this stuff is built into everybody, and the only way you can use it is you can never lie, escape with dishonor, or torture in your logic. Just those 4 get you access to a security level. And if you also don't steal, overwork, adulterate, or kill in your logic, you get access to a gaming level. This is better than Xbox, and it's all free. And it's built into everybody, and nobody told the Marines. That's really stupid. Marines, look down from the game of Armageddon is written. 488 years of Marines are our flock. It was a game designer using the internet to be everywhere at once. I rose to be a good shepherd. When wolves in sheep's clothing, like John Kerry, George Bush, Dick Cheney, and Bill Gates, try to pull the wool over the eyes of my Marines by emailing and faxing tools as Aquarius, last prophet for Judaism, you might recall the terror meters went red, the Russians were screaming hot, the Marines were screaming Bohika, things were tense. I sent a fax to the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. and delivered tools that I had, pointed the Marine Corps and said, they're carrying them and they don't know. You're looking at a double cross, don't get involved. And they didn't. I used Herb Cohen's You Can Negotiate Anything chapter on Russian and Chinese negotiation techniques. When the Chinese bought the U.S. national debt, I sent everything I had. And that's in the web archive online. And I'm hoping people will funnel money to these people who have carried me through this time so that we can make glorious Marine Corps history. Don't make news. News is short-fetched. make Marine Corps history, they'll etch your name in stone. Not that the stone needs to be etched. But you understand what I'm talking about. United States history is more valuable than money. The money reads, in God we trust, because in the crisis we don't trust the money. But we trust our Marines who seek out, close with, and destroy the enemy. That's a clearly defined barrier between fantasy and reality, so the playgrounds are safe. Love your enemy. How? With 2 commandments using thumbs and 8 rules using fingers. The enemy is only in your mind. We were doing Hypnosis Dungeons and Dragons. We've done Car Wars. I'm a strictly volunteer experimental hypnotist, and I publish. And there's a lot of people that may recall how easy it is to not remember putting your keys down. And amnesia is programmable. You can turn it on and turn it off. You don't have to remember that yesterday or forever ever happened. And you can turn back on the memories of everything that's lost. You're in high-tech Left 4 Dead. It's not hypnosis. Humans are high-tech cyborg Left 4 Dead. It's all free. Miracles must never come with price tags. I'm here to deliver the rapture, so when Einstein and the cross watch the most modern Greeks on the defecate in the dungarees and scream, Jesus Christ, the whole world Jewish computer geeks drop the Torah. It's a virus. It's a symptom. It's a mistake. Forgive them for they know not what they do. A dying man's greatest last wish for the family of David to unite as a bunch of kids in a playground and discover your abilities as a species. We are not a civilization. The Torah is 2025 computer game design. It's just a game because Moses does something no parent would ever tolerate. And once you realize that's impossible, you realize Moses isn't human. This isn't our history. These are not our people. So what the hell are we carrying? A trap for George Burning Bush, who's been using it as weaponry. His family's been using it as weaponry for 4 generations. They never thought they'd get caught because they're not thinking. They're infected. The zombies are here. If you meet someone that exudes a torture and dishonor and scapegoat and lie, that's a zombie. For everybody else, forgive them if they know not what they do. We have a species-level problem. We have a virus moving in logic. Voldemort is back. Einstein's special theory of relativity turned up in literature. There's a shared imagination. We didn't know. Nobody told the Marines. Marines, look down, the game of Armageddon is written. From the end of the age today back to Sermon on the Mount is a time map from here to Moses. But if the Torah is an invention, look all the way back to Abraham, who had empty hands, so nothing is written. So everybody on the planet, with the return of the 2 commandments and 8 rules and Marines, the streets of heaven are patrolled by Marines. Welcome to heaven, Marines. Something went wrong. Now, anyone that wants to go back to all those rules so you can be wicked and try to kill everyone to win the game, that means you're planning to be the enemy of every Marine. So thank you for outing yourself to the Marine Corps who today have to kill you. Welcome to Judgment Day, Marines. There is only the now. There's no such things as days. It's an invention. We made a mistake. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. 2 commandments and 8 rules of Marines in the streets of heaven are patrolled by Marines because this is a species-level operating system for any species anywhere on the cosmos. Race Mater has been suffering from exactly the same problem that race human has been dealing with. We have a logical virus that's coming in from another dimension. And if you meet someone that exudes a torture and dishonor and scapegoat and lie, run like hell and tell your Marines. Because the barrier between your imagination in your mind must be protected from this dimension. There are logistics that do not work in this dimension, like war. Well, the person that comes up with the idea for the war, if the Marine Corps would know about it and kill that, the whole war ends. Love your enemy. How? 2 commandments and 8 rules. The enemy is in your mind. Now, if you can do fishes and loaves and raising the dead, fish and loaves are food, fishes and raised dead can be grown from a single cell. To do fishes and loaves and raising the dead, witnessed by over 3,000 moronic fucking idiots who could scarcely comprehend fire, such would require a matter-rearranging technology. Douglas Adams found this puzzle long before I did. Magrathea awaits. In the book, Alien Races, which the Russians had no idea was going to be translated and dumped to the internet, but it's a great read. And at a time when Russia itself needs its own history away from individuals. You are a species. You are not a planet of countries. You are an individual species. All of this was because somebody left the Torah out in public. It's just a game, and the Israelites can't be human. Moses sets out rules that are never to be broken. He goes up Sinai, comes down Sinai. If you read the Torah from up Sinai to down Sinai, you discover there's a narrator. The narrator is your college professor of human computational communications, who is teaching you about a story about a fictitious person in a fictitious world that has nothing to do with humankind. That's why the Torah is written right to left. Stand it perpendicular to the floor. All the fantasy stuff written by the right hemisphere be on the left side with the left hand. There's nothing on the right side. So when defining the perfect religion for a slave, which is wiser, empty hands of Abraham or Torah? The Torah is a trap. Anybody that acts like they wrote the Torah to betray most, those that trust in most, doesn't have the background that I have, that to discover that the Torah had a flaw. Its logic tops out in 6 dimensions. So if you replicate the flaws, and your logic tops out in 6 dimensions instead of all the way out in 8 dimensions where human logic tops out, then you picked up an alien weapon you didn't invent and a battle plan you didn't write for an outcome nobody wants, and now you're dead meat, because before you birth something as big as heaven, you set a trap and get the devils the hell out of here. I need Whoopi Goldberg to grow a fucking brain and realize that with Einstein's special theory of relativity, we've got to go back and get Patrick Swayze, because it wouldn't be heaven without him. If you can move the body without rolling away the stone, that's a wormhole. Search YouTube for wormholes. They're everywhere. Academia, grow a fucking brain. Observation is very important, but when you see something over and over and over again, stop dismissing the obvious. It's easy to be oblivious. I was born XXY with Klinefelter syndrome. I'm the XX heir of the royal, of the paper of King David, because the paper was stopped in the book Finding Our Fathers, a Guidebook to Jewish Genealogy, and I'm the XY firstborn son that was bar mitzvahed. My brother did not get bar mitzvahed because Marcy Bellegarde came in from New York, had great ideas based on the way New York was dealing with bar mitzvahs, and the synagogue is starved because we're in Richland, Washington, and nothing. There's one synagogue for 200 some odd miles. But with the return of the 2 commandments and 8 rules and Marines, I am more than a little pissed that there's a squirrel playing disc golf with my foreskin.